Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Israel Wake Up. It's our Women's Advanced Bible Study Night, the 17th of July, 2025. We'll be dealing with the book of Ezra out of the King James. We're going to start with chapter 3, and we're going to read that and break it down. It's got a lot of significance to it compared to the end time. So we're going to shine a light on that tonight. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, to Israel Wake Up, check out our videos. We have over 100 or so videos that you can look at, examine, and get the meat out. And these videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. For those that don't know, this is our sister channel to Prophets of Awakening. Okay, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer and our Deliverer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay, this channel was created to aid and assist Hebrew Israelite women who are waking up in these last days to their true identity. Shalom and welcome to the channel. Welcome to our Women Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms. We have some women's help with Michelle. Then we have current events. Then we'll deal with our need to know information. Open it up for some Q&A. And then our topic for discussion is Jerusalem. People don't know it, but they just made a sacrifice in Jerusalem for the third temple. Okay, and then we'll, like I said, we'll be reading out of the book of Ezra, starting at chapter 3. Okay, then we'll pick a scripture like we normally do, or read that scripture and then break it down. Then we'll close out. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts, and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we thank you for your great mercy and your great power and your wisdom. And we tarry waiting for your powerful deliverance to the people of Israel. We come this day, doubtless that you would appear and that you would gather your nation from among these wicked Gentiles. Oh Lord, you spoke through your prophet Isaiah, and you said that you would help Abraham's seed that you have scattered. And you have completed that promise as of this day, for we are awakened. And you said, oh Lord, that you would remove the darkness from around us. Tarry not, oh Lord, the latter days are here, and we are waiting and watching for you. Peace be unto you. Okay, so we're going to read the Psalms. Somebody going to read it? Okay.
Okay, I have a Psalms. It's Psalms 40. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Blessed is the man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Many, O Lord my God, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to usward. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. Mine ears hast thou opened. Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. Then said I, Lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation. Lo, I have not refrained my lips, O Lord. Thou knowest. I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation I have not concealed thy loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation. Withhold not thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let thy loving kindness and thy truth continually preserve me. For innumerable evils compass me about mine. Iniquities have taken hold upon me, so that I am not able to look up. They are more than the hairs of mine head. Therefore my heart faileth me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. Let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul to destroy it. Let them be driven backward and put to shame that wish me evil. Let them be desolate for a reward of their shame, that say unto me, Aha, aha. Let all those that seek thee rejoice and be glad in thee. Let such as love thy salvation say continually, The Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy, yet the Lord thinketh upon me. Thou art my help and my deliverer. Make no tarrying, O my God. That was Psalms 40.
Okay, you got any feedback on that?
Uh, no, other than it's David himself asking and pleading for the Most High, the angel of the Lord, to remember him in the midst of all that he's doing and all the evil happening around him.
Yeah, right. I continuously keep saying. I think a lot of people don't pay attention to it, but we know that they've given us another deliverer. But when we listen to David talk, and a lot of our forefathers, they continue to tell us that when they cried and they lined themselves up with the Lord, He showed up and helped them and delivered them. But we see here, it's been 2,500 years, and we ain't heard nothing. We ain't seen no Jesus. Like I said, all we see is they gave him to us and they talk about him, but we ain't seen him show up like the Lord of Hosts did back in the day. And that's one of the convincing things to me right there. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. We're gonna do our Women's Health Moment with Michelle.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Please know that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on diet culture and health. What is diet culture? Diet culture is a set of expectations about valuing thinness and attractiveness over physical health and emotional well being. Diet culture often emphasizes good versus bad foods, focuses on calorie restrictions, and normalizes self deprecating talk. Diet culture is toxic and it can be a risk factor for body disorder eating and other mental health issues. Diet culture can exist anywhere, although it tends to be more prevalent in Western influenced societies. It's commonplace in groups or areas where one's image often becomes synonymous with status and power. Diet culture can quickly become a consuming lifestyle that compromises your physical and emotional well being. Examples of diet culture include exercising to burn off a specific number of calories or to earn a treat, feeling guilty or ashamed for eating, attempting to suppress your appetite with diet pills, avoiding certain social situations to avoid eating, feeling unworthy or unattractive due to your body, weighing yourself and changing your behaviors based on the number on the scale, worshiping thinness and weight loss, engaging in fat shaming or body shaming behaviors or talk, feeling envious of others for their weight or perceived self control. By recognizing these messages and seeing them more clearly for what they are, we can more easily move past them and decide for ourselves how to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Identifying negative behaviors regarding your diet can help you develop better habits and ensure you maintain a diet that's healthy for you. Do what We want to base our worth on the size and shape of our bodies. Can we be happy if we do not live up to others' standards or beauty? Can we be confident in who we are, regardless of our body shape and size? A healthy diet often starts with making more informed decisions about what's best for your body. I will be reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verses 12 and 13. A peace for God's people. Verse 12. Lord, thou wilt ordain peace for us, for thou also hast wrought all our works in us. Verse 13. O Lord, our God, other lords besides thee have had dominion over us, but by thee only will we make mention of thy name. Tonight's discussion was on diet culture and health, and I read from the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verses 12 and 13. A peace for God's people. Shalom, everyone.
Okay, we appreciate that information. Anybody got any feedback on that? Okay. With that being said, we'll go to our current events. We'll play them, the video like we normally do, and then we'll go back and dissect it. Okay. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I have a very, very interesting broadcast I'm going to be sharing with you all. Something that we definitely need to take a look at and consider. With everything that the Trump administration is doing, I think it's time that we start picking this stuff apart to see what all of this means. Just like recently, we found out that the reason why there's such a push to get rid of all of these immigrants and these farm workers, and he's not giving amnesty to anyone, is because he says there are 34 million Americans that need to be working them fields. Isn't that something? Well, I have some more information I'm going to be sharing with you regarding the recent layoffs of more than 1,300 workers at the State Department. It's time that we start diving deeper into these things because it is a lot more at stake than what is on the surface. Now, before getting into this, I will ask that you all will share the broadcast so that others can tap in on this topic right along with us. Even if you're going to watch this on the replay, you can share it as well. If you are new to the channel and you don't have any issues with the truth, I double dare you to subscribe to the channel. If you do, make sure you hit the notification bell so you can be notified each and every time we upload or go live. So anyway, you're going to hear some information about what the State Department even deals with, which is why there is a concern as to, are we being locked inside the United States? These folk deal with passports and even embassy issues when Americans are traveling abroad and they're letting go of workers. They're said that there's going to be delays in even getting passports processed. So it makes you wonder, are they trying to get people stuck inside of the United States, making it more difficult for you to leave? Notice, they've already made it more difficult for people to get in. And they're also making it to where others don't even want to come here. They don't even want to travel here. What's going on, y'all? Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. This is some frightening stuff when you think about it. Like I said, I don't mean to invoke fear. I don't mean frightening in that way. It sounds frightening, but we know how the story ends. We know that the Most High is our protection, but we still have to pay attention to what's going on and not ignore Satan's devices. Anyway, let's take a listen at this stuff. And of course, I will be right back.
These are the federal workers who just found out they lost their jobs this morning. The State Department is laying off more than 1,300 employees this Friday. Rally going on as these workers walk out with pots in their hands and crowds are cheering and supporting them.
Yeah, so my entire team was affected by this. This is a sad day for democracy.
Department just laid off thousands of workers today. Who processes passport applications and renewals? Oh, that's right, the State Department. At least 1,300 people got notified that they were being laid off or terminated today, Friday, July 11th. And there are rumors of upwards of 3,000 total job cuts across the board. This is massive, and it's all been made possible by the recent Supreme Court ruling, shocking, allowing the Trump administration's RIF, or reduction in force, to actually take place. This is the first mass layoff we've seen since that ruling, and it impacts the entire department, everything from administrative civil servants, you know, the ones processing passport applications or renewals, to foreign service. Yeah, the people who are actually stationed overseas in our embassies and consulates to assist Americans abroad or those wishing to come to the United States. Yeah, they got let go too. This is a massive blow to the federal workforce and honestly to the United States of America, because it's likely going to make wait times for passports, adoptions, or people needing assistance abroad longer.
Are part of the major reorganization planned by the Trump administration. The administration says it's about streamlining and making the department more efficient. But critics argue that this will seriously weaken U.S. diplomacy at a time when global tensions are rising.
I think it's a sad time for our institution, at a time when, if anything, the State Department is needed more than ever.
The U.S. State Department just laid off 1,000 workers, and whatever news, even if you open up Google and you have it set to news, it's just day after day of what the government is taking away from us. So it's taken away our healthcare, it's taken away our jobs, it's taken away our sanity, it's taken away our mental health. Every day. Every day.
Okay. Any comments on that? What do you think? Feedback?
Shalom. So I don't know what's going on. I know something is, because even as of yesterday, the National Guard withdrew 2,000 people in LA. The Supreme Court allowed the Department of Education to be cut by more than half. The Secretary of Education okayed that, and she spoke about what was rumored about federal government trying to give it to the states. That is the plan. Yesterday, it was stuck in the Senate, I think, to start reducing funds for foreign affairs and public broadcasting. And today they approved it. So it's a lot of federal dollars are being cut. Where it's going, who knows? I agree. A lot of things are changing financially. Money's going away. Federal plans and programs are no longer being used. But they haven't spoken about where the money's going to. So that's very interesting. I also know the UK, their inflation rate is about the same as the US now. And magically, Nigeria's inflation has went down.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Go to the next video.
Was almost deported, was arrested by the federal government, held, incarcerated for many days, and finally released when an attorney believed him. He was never not a citizen. Yeah, he's a black male. All right, let's get to it. Let's put it in picture format. Let me tell you about the horrific story, the thing that happened to Brian Buckle. Never should have happened, but it did. 62 years of age, was detained and almost deported to the British Virgin Islands because immigration officers refused to believe that he was a U.S. citizen, and they refused to even check. Mr. Buckle, born in the British Virgin Islands, was automatically naturalized through his parents in the 1960s. He was 9 years of age. But in June 2020, while he thought he would be going home from prison to reunite with his son in time for Father's Day, he was told that Immigration and Customs, the enforcement, wanted him out of the country. So ICE said, you have to go. Here's a quote. I came this close to being deported and losing everything. A nightmare that has stayed with me to this day, Mr. Buckle said. Civil advocates believe Buckle was subjected to the treatment because of his race. The U.S. government settled a wrongful arrest lawsuit with Mr. Buckle on December 5th for $150,000. Not enough money, in my opinion. I will tell you why in a minute. Data shows that ICE disproportionately selects Black immigrants for deportation. According to the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, Black immigrants are more likely to be targeted for deportation and come in contact with ICE than immigrants of other races. While 7% of non-citizens in the U.S. are Black, they account for 20% of those facing deportation, triggered by the criminal justice system, the organization that advocates against anti-Black racism in the immigration process said. Now, there's more. Buckle was incarcerated in 2018 for 2 years for assault and possession of a firearm. He was convicted and spent his time, gave his time. He's now a free man, according to the docket. But that's not what happened. While in custody, he told California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation staff that he was a U.S. citizen, told them this on numerous occasions. And it was noted in their files that he told them, hey, I am, in fact, a U.S. citizen. However, prison staff decided to ignore the proclamation of this human being and classified him as a potential ICE hold, which means the federal government needs to come and look at this. In addition, all of the applications identified Mr. Buckle's parents as the route to his siblings' citizenship. The documents also confirm that their naturalization started the same day Buckle's mother and father completed the American citizenship process. Still, the immigration officer who sent the request to the prison to detain Mr. Buckle for 48 hours would have been released to transfer to an ICE detention center, said he had probable cause to do so based on, get this, biometric confirmation of Mr. Buckley's identity and records check of federal databases. Now, let me pause on this and then I will give you the rest of the story. What in the hell is that? Okay, well, a biometric determinant is basically something like voice recognition, facial description, or facial recognition. Fingerprints can be included. Also, fingernails, DNA, things of that nature. So what is the federal agent talking about? That he has some kind of biometric information that somehow supersedes any other information that may be part of the system. Well, that remains a mystery today. We never got to the bottom of it, unfortunately. The lawsuit says Mr. Buckle maintained that he was a U.S. citizen the entire time and repeatedly requested to the prison staff to remove the immigration hold, but they did not. Instead of being picked up by his family on June 16, 2020, Mr. Buckle was picked up by ICE the next day. You're not a citizen, you're a foreigner, one prison guard reportedly told the man. Two security guards employed by G4S Secure Solutions, Inc. went to the prison and arrested Mr. Buckle before transporting him to the ICE subfield office in Bakersville, California. However, the ACLU Foundation of North California, Advancing Justice Asian Law Caucus, and the law firm Sidley Austin LLP, which filed the lawsuit on the man's behalf, claimed the security guards had no authority to arrest Mr. Buckle, even though they were outsourced by ICE. The practice was also banned during the summer in another lawsuit settlement. ICE and CDCR didn't care about me or my life, he said. Mr. Buckle is just one of several potential U.S. citizens arrested, detained, or deported by ICE over the past few years, and the vast majority of them, people of color. Mr. Buckle also told ICE officers at the field office that he was a U.S. citizen through his parents' naturalization. However, the lawsuit says deportation officer R. Cruz checked the database and found only evidence of his father's U.S. citizenship status, not his mother's. He told Buckle, "We're going to send you back." Buckle then asked the immigration officer to speak to his brothers to confirm his status, but Agent Cruz refused. The older man spent 36 days in an ICE detention center before a lawyer intervened on his behalf, and he was released.
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that? Y'all sound like Pastor Manning to me all over. Like I said, everything's about us. Ever since Trump got in. Any comments? Okay.
Shalom. Shalom, everyone. I feel like, yes, they're fear mongering and they're going by what they're saying they're going to do. I don't know how many ICE officials that's really sworn in and really worked for them, or they're just pulling people, telling them to just do what they can do. So if it was, I noticed I saw some black people that's ICE officials or ICE workers that they can come up on another black person. They wouldn't think of it that much because they're not in uniforms, and then they can capture them. It's just a scary thing because you don't know who's who, and by them doing what they did, and if he didn't have a lawyer or no one knew about him being captured like he was and detained, he could have been in there for more than 30 days. We'll never know.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, they was getting ready to ship him. That's what they was getting ready to do. Okay. Got some need to know information right here. Like I was saying before, we see all the chaos going on, but everybody didn't lost focus on the fact that these people want to build that temple. This is what all the drama and chaos that we see going on is these fake Israelites want to build that temple in Jerusalem, right? To shut everybody's mouth up because everybody know who they are now. Most everybody is anybody with any kind of doing any kind of research. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Important sign of the end times isn't a war, not a disease, not even the rise of the Antichrist, but the rebuilding of one sacred structure on one holy mountain in one city that refuses to die, Jerusalem, the third temple, a place where ancient prophecy, modern politics, and spiritual warfare collide. The first temple, built by Solomon, was glorious. The second, rebuilt after exile, was sacred. But the third temple, that's the one the Bible connects to the final days, the Antichrist, and the return of Jesus Christ. Here's the shocking truth. Everything needed to build it already exists. The blueprints, the priestly garments, the golden menorah, the trained Levites.
Notice what he said. Everything is in place.
Even the red heifers. And while the world watches TikTok and talks about peace, prophecy is getting ready to step into reality. The story of the Jewish temple begins in splendor. Solomon's temple, the first temple, stood as a masterpiece of gold and glory, God's dwelling place on earth. It was where the Ark of the Covenant rested, where fire fell from heaven, and where priests stood in awe. But because of Israel's rebellion, it was destroyed by Babylon in 586 BC, torn down stone by stone. Years later, the second temple was built after the return from exile. It lacked the ark, but it carried hope. It was the very temple Jesus walked in. He taught there, flipped tables there, and wept over it. Yet in 70 AD, it too was destroyed, this time by Rome. Since then, for over 900 years, no temple has stood in Jerusalem. But the Bible speaks of a third temple, one that has not yet been built, but must rise again for the final chapters of prophecy to unfold. Its absence isn't just historical, it's prophetic. And now we stand in a generation that may see its return. The Bible clearly foretells a future temple standing in Jerusalem during the final days. In 2 Thessalonians 2:4, Paul says the Antichrist will sit in the temple of God, proclaiming himself to be God. This means a literal, physical temple must exist in the last days, not just as a symbol, but as a stage for the ultimate deception. Revelation 11 also speaks of the temple being measured, confirming its future existence. For centuries, this seemed impossible, but now it's becoming reality. The third temple isn't just a theory, it's a prophetic necessity tied to Israel, the rise of the Antichrist. Where Solomon's temple once stood is also home to the Dome of the Rock, one of Islam's holiest sites. Any attempt to build the temple there could spark worldwide outrage, violence, or even war. And yet, Bible prophecy tells us that somehow it will happen. Revelation 11:2 speaks of the outer courts being given to the Gentiles, suggesting the temple may be rebuilt beside the dome. Already, tensions between Jews and Muslims. Not a house of worship, but a throne of deception. Many will think the Messiah has come, but in truth, it will be Satan's final masquerade. Yet even in this darkness, prophecy holds a promise. Isaiah 14:4.
Don't wait for them to make any of this make any sense and make it work. They got to go to the New Testament because none of the stuff that he's saying about Paul and Revelations is in the Old Testament. And the temple, he keeps saying that the second temple was a Herod temple, but Zerubbabel was the second temple. Then Herod built the temple. They already had a third temple, but they want to try to make all this work by saying that Herod temple was the second temple, but Zerubbabel was the second temple. And Cyrus came out, which is what we're going to read in a minute. Cyrus came out and gave him all the vessels and everything that belongs in the temple. They took it back. He just said that the ark wasn't in there in the second temple. So like I said before, all of that is to try to make JC fit when he don't fit, because he's a concoction of the Gentiles. They had the council man here. Any comments on that? So all the drama you see going on, these Edomites behind the scene, these Zionists coming up with this temple. You gotta let that register. What it's going to do to the world if it is built, and how it's going to elevate them. Any comments or questions?
No, I didn't know about talk about another temple being built, and that's overwhelming.
Okay.
I knew last month that I think yesterday I talked about how Israel had a war with all these people. I don't know if anybody knew that they actually sent a letter to Iran, and in that letter, it goes on to basically saying that they're talking to all the sons of Ishmael, and they quote several different biblical scriptures, like scripture from the canon, that basically says you guys think you're sons of God, but we're sons of God. And the letter itself was just shocking that it was like official political documentation that went to another country. But I'm just amazed that they're even in the process of trying to build a whole nother temple and apparently have everything there to do so.
Okay, yeah, you need to Google that. You need to Google that on YouTube, because that's known all over the place. Anybody else got any comments or questions on that?
Yes, sir, I do. I have a comment, Brother Leonard, on that, right? And yesterday it was also brought up about the day of the Lord, right? So we know that the day of the Lord can be judgment and deliverance, right? So with them thinking we're going to be back in the field, with them thinking they're going to just be able to rebuild the temple and JC coming back and all of this, we know that that's not going to happen. So I feel as though what they're setting themselves up for is destruction. You know, they've been doing things for hundreds of years, knowing that they're not the people, they're not the chosen people.
Exactly.
And so, like you say, I know we're going to read about it a little later, so I'm not going to get ahead of myself with that, but they are not the chosen ones to do anything within the temple. So we know that there was, you know, some people that wanted to have something to do with the temple, and their help was refused. It was said, we don't need your help.
Exactly. Same people that's over there now.
Yes, sir.
Right. Oh yeah, and then we see how they don't. It's becoming more and more evident for the people with the Most High and pull the Spirit out on, that's searching and seeking truth. The truth. We saw how they didn't paraphrase everything, and we got a prime example of that last night. They want to say JC the Lamb. Well, it's a process. What happens to the Lamb? And we see he don't fit it. So it's the same thing with this temple. It's a process to how that works. And we see what they got going on. None of it is adding up. Like I said, it's all paraphrased, and it's fictitious stuff that they done came up with and duplicating. So everything they've done, they duplicated, and we already had a redeemer, and when they concocted JC, put him in the place of our redeemer. It's like it started way back with Enoch. Cain had a son called Enoch. Yahweh had a son, or Adam had a son called Enoch. Cain had a son called Lamech. Adam got a son called Lamech. They started a long time ago. And if you really go into it, I think I have a couple of videos on that, how at every crossroad in our history, twins was born. One of them was righteous, one of them was unrighteous. So there's something going on with that. Like I said, I don't want to digress, but you know, I got videos on it. You can check them out. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. Open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments, any dialogue about anything they've been dealing with? They want to bring it to the light. Want to chop it up, get some clarity.
Shalom, this is Brittany again. So one of the verses that you brought up in Genesis chapter 10,
Okay.
when you go through generations of Japheth,
Right.
the next verse, verse 3, it says, "And the sons of Gomer," which would be Japheth's grandchildren, Ashkenaz. That name just blew me through the water.
Okay. Ain't that something?
What's that?
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff is right there, but we don't read it because we got JC in our head.
Yes, my nephew was asking me. He was like, "Well, he's in this belief that some of these Jewish people have to be Israelites because of all of this history, right?"
Right.
And I went back to this and I said, "But you can't be Semite, but also from Japheth. If you're an Ashkenazi Jew, you're somebody who just learned all the rules and are
Right.
following them, but you're still from Japheth. It's not anti-Semite to talk about you. You're not even Semite." And
Right.
that is just something that their name is right there in Genesis.
Right.
But all these years we're supposed to have believed that they lived and came from Israel.
Exactly. And Tubal came. Tubal is in that same chapter. I mean, those same verses. Tubal came. Japhet got a son called Tubal. And that, you know, when you show people that, you know, I had a lady say on another platform I was on that you can't do that. You can't connect. I can't connect Tubal in Genesis chapter 4 and Cain lineage with the Tubal that's in after the flood, that's in Japhet lineage. I can't do that. I'm like, what you mean? Like I said, who would name their kid any one of their children after Tubal when you know who he is, unless you out of Tubal lineage. Okay, what person you know gonna name their son Tubal? Come on, that's like what his name? The one that's supposedly defiled JC, he tricked JC. What his name? The 12th apostle.
Judas.
Not Barabbas. I can't say. It'll come to me.
The Judas.
Judas Iscariot. Who would name their child Judas Iscariot after you know what's gonna happen? What's in the history books or what's in out there in the world? Who would name their child that? Or who would even put them through that? Come on, it's crazy. So anyway,
that makes sense because it's a long history of history being written and shared even that early. So yeah, he would have to know where Tubal was used from before he named his son.
Exactly. So he's taking pride in his lineage. He's going back in his lineage and to somebody out of his lineage and naming him Tubal. And like I said, we see it all through the Old Testament. In Ezekiel 38, the army that's coming in the end times is Meshach, the same people that's in Genesis chapter 10 on the Japhet lineage. Gog, Magog, Meshach, Tubal. Every time he mentioned them, the Lord of hosts is against them. So come on, it's not hard to figure that out. Oh yeah. That's the wicked people that he's talking about. Let me read it right quick. Japhet is the people he's talking about in 2 Samuel chapter 7. Let me read it right quick. Yeah, this is another verse that I'm always reading. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. So he tells Nathan to go tell David. David wanted to build a temple for the Lord, but David had blood on his hands. So he got Solomon to build a temple because Solomon is a peace, a king of peace. Verse 8, 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 8 says, Now therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, the Lord of hosts sending Nathan to talk to David. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from a sheepcote, from following sheep, to be ruler of my people Israel. And I was with thee whatsoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Then 10, moreover, I will appoint a place for my people. See that? I will appoint a place for my people, and I will plant them, that they may dwell in the place of their own. That's in the land of Canaan, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness. See that? Whole other group of people. So who is that? Cain descendants. They came through the flood. His people and the children of wickedness, two different people. And then when you go back in the scriptures, like I just said, you got a wicked ass Enoch, and you got a righteous Enoch. You got a wicked Lamech, righteous Lamech. A wicked Methuselah, a righteous Methuselah. So you got two lineages came out of the garden. And the Most High told Noah, get a male and a female from all flesh. Put them on the ark. Genitalia. They want to deal with the animals, but he said get a male and a female from all flesh, which included genitalia, which is humans. So we got Japhet. He ain't none of Noah's son. And if you follow it, you're gonna see it. Okay. So with that being said, anybody got any comments? Okay, so with that being said, let me see where I'm at. Yeah, play this right here. thought this guy here be dropping some golden nuggets, so I'm gonna play this. Then we're going to our topic for discussion. Okay.
What Trump exposes every day, by the way, in a cruder and more dangerous way, is his belief that he can post something on Truth Social and the world has to respond to it, and that he can give orders to Putin, or he can give orders.
So, and this is another thing that is just a lot of people I don't think it's really registering with them. But the reason why we've been in the predicament we in all this time for the last 2,500 years is, like David said, like Daniel said in the book of Daniel, when he prayed, the Lord of hosts had told Jeremiah to tell them, you're going to Babylon. The good seed gonna go to Babylon for their good for 70 years. When you get to Daniel 9:25, they had 69 years. Matter of fact, Darius already came on the scene. So Daniel looking at that and saying that Jeremiah prophesied under the Spirit of the Most High, he was going to be at 70 years. And he told us, serve Nebuchadnezzar, his son and his grandson. Now all of a sudden, Daniel chapter 9, Darius on the scene. So that's what triggered Daniel to go pray. And so what did Daniel say in his prayer? Unto us belong the confusion of faith, because they're in captivity. That's one of the Lord of hosts characteristics that he do to people when you sin against him. So up until recently, now we see he poured his spirit out on us. But these nut buckets now had a confusion of faith. Pretty much all their leaders, especially this nut bucket Trump, what we are witnessing is a confusion of faith. Like I said, he can't see that everybody think he's a joke, but he think that he can make a statement and everybody gonna go to moving and shaking or trembling when everybody looking at him like a cartoon character. Confusion of faith.
To Xi Jinping, or he can give orders to Lula, or he can give orders to the BRICS, and everybody's going to fall in line. That's his real belief. It's at a personal level rather crude, but it's kind of in the air in Washington that, oh, yes, multipolar. Marco Rubio says these things once in a while in speeches, but really, America is going to tell the world what to do. And what's problematic right now is the rest of the world isn't going to follow the US line. And we have a president that is out of control of law in the United States. He just issues executive decrees, he issues orders every day. The Supreme Court has basically said, we're not going to stop him. Congress has said, we're pathetic, we have nothing to do with this. And so we have one person, nearly an octogenarian, who has delusions of American power, who is giving orders every day to the world. The orders change by the hour. The rest of the world some are trying to say, yes, please, we love you, we respect you, we honor you. But in fact, a lot of the world follows President Lula's line, although President Lula is just about the only one with the gumption to say it. He said last week, we don't want an emperor, period. And he meant it. And when the United States, not the United States, by the way, when Donald Trump responded by saying, okay, Brazil gets 50% tariffs, President Lula said, okay, we have a reciprocity law, we retaliate. We don't want an emperor. This is where we are this week. It's rather shocking. It's rather amazing. It's not, let's live in a multipolar world, let's make peace, let's make business, let's get along. It's more dangerous than that right now. It is an erratic leader that it has no institutional control, who both exemplifies and exacerbates this Western delusion of power over the rest of the world, something that is past. It's already passé. It's already an anachronism. It was true, by the way, for 200 or 250 years, but it ain't true today. And this
prophesied time up, but they don't see it. They can't see that the Lord of hosts is bringing that, then brought their power and what they was doing to an end, and they just digging a deeper hole for themselves. Okay, that's what we looking at. Anybody have any comments? Okay, yeah. So I mentioned earlier about the temple, right? Well, here we go right here, in case you want to know where we at in the Lord of Hosts timeline. Check it out.
Waiting. A perfect red heifer has finally been selected.
This just happened.
Israel's biblical red heifer sacrifice ritual has come to life in a rehearsal ceremony. Took place today, July 8, 2025, in Shiloh.
The Jews have finally sacrificed the red heifers, which is supposed to be sacrificed right before the construction of the third Solomon temple, which according to the prophecy means that once the third temple is built, that's when the second coming of Christ is going to start. Now, this just happened a few hours ago, and as we know, Israel and the Jews, they already have the red heifers that are required for the sacrifice of the third Solomon temple. Now, something interesting happened before the actual sacrifice of the red heifer, because right when they were about to sacrifice the red heifer, one of the chief priests of the Jews just discovered that there is a very tiny black hair that's mixed with the red heifers, that got mixed up with the red heifer. So the Jews ended up deciding that they need to use this cow as a rehearsal sacrifice of the major ceremony that's going to be happening anytime soon. Could be days, could be hours, we never know. But as of now, they've already sacrificed the red heifer, which according to the high priest of the Jews is just a rehearsal sacrifice, just to see if things are going as according to the plan, because they decided that the cow was impure, just because it had a single black hair among all the red ones. Now this right here is the footage that we actually received from Jerusalem. Take a look at this stuff. So the Jews are like getting ready for the red heifer sacrifice. And as you can see, they've already sacrificed.
So if you want to watch this, it's Jerusalem just sacrificed. Just go to the Google, search block on Google, on YouTube.
The cow is burning on the fire, and this is basically how the sacrifice is going on. And one of the greatest signs, and always has been in the Bible, watch where the Jews are. And right now, all the Jews have combined together in Jerusalem. They've all gathered up together.
Prophetic development. Israel's biblical red heifer sacrifice ritual has come to life in a rehearsal ceremony. It is a key component in ancient Jewish purification rites, according to Numbers 19. The rehearsal, carried out under rabbinical supervision, took place today, July 8, 2025, in Shiloh. A red heifer raised in Israel was disqualified for sacrifice after 2 black hairs were found on its body. It was what was used in a practice burning ceremony for the trained priests. While no date for an actual sacrifice has been announced, the rehearsal included ritual garments, priestly training, and a demonstration of the altar procedures.
So basically, as I said, the red heifer just had a couple of black hairs in it, so they decided to still sacrifice it instead of letting it go, because they thought that maybe we should just do a rehearsal, maybe we should get everything right, and everything needs to be perfect. So they basically ended up sacrificing this cow, which is not supposed to be sacrificed. So they are probably just rehearsing it. They used everything that requires in the real rituals. So they call this as a practice session. Now, for those of you guys who are confused on why the Jews are sacrificing the red heifer, and why are they sacrificing this red cow and just burning it into ashes, what's the need to do that? Well, the whole reason here is that the Jews believe that the second coming of Christ, as the Christians believe, or the first coming for the Jews, of course, which they believe that their Messiah has not yet arrived, which means that they are considering that the second coming of Christ is going to be their Messiah. So apparently, according to the Jew scriptures, what's basically happening here is that they they are supposed to be sacrificing a red heifer. And the way to do it is by basically burning the cow and then using the ashes of this cow in order to cleanse every single tool that is going to be used in order to build the third Solomon temple. Now, for those of you guys who don't know where the third Solomon temple is going to be built, some people say that it's going to be built in the place where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is currently present. Now, that's going to be very controversial because the Islams are not going to be allowing that to happen because they consider the Al-Aqsa, the Mosque of Muhammad, to be very sacred, but at the same time, the Jews need that position. But right now, we've just learned that the main gate in which their Messiah is supposed to be entering is slightly on the other side of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which means that the Jews don't really have to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they can already start building the third Solomon temple right in front of the gate, which are currently being sealed off by the Muslims because they're using that gate as a graveyard. And the Jews believe that even though it's a graveyard, it doesn't matter. Their Messiah is above all. He's God, so it doesn't really matter if there's grave. Any place he walks on is going to turn into holy. So they don't really care at this point whether or not if it's a graveyard or whatever it is. So they're basically going to be constructing this third Solomon temple. But before they do that, they are supposed to wash their entire tools. Every single tool that's going to be used in order to build this temple is only going to be used once they wash the tool in the ashes of the red heifer that they just sacrificed. It's basically replicating what Jesus did on the cross. Now, we Christians, we've accepted Jesus as the Messiah, and we already know that he's Son of God, and he sacrificed on the cross for our sins. So we don't really need any more sacrifices, and God doesn't really accept any more sacrifices as well, because Christ on the cross temple, which means that anything could be possible. I'm not saying that Trump is the Antichrist or whatever, but there is always a possibility that we need to always look forward to that. Because the one person who has all the powers in order to support Israel is, of course, America. And of course, Donald Trump has the power since he's the president. And he's also pledging his legion in order to favor for Israel. And he already said that he's going to be helping Israel in order to build the third Solomon temple. So we never really know who the Antichrist is. But I think we're getting so close to the end times that we will very soon find out whoever that is. But the one thing I would...
Okay. Any feedback on that? Anybody got a comment?
Shalom. It's a bunch of hogwash, but shalom. Even if they go through this whole thing, the red heifer will never burn because they are not supposed to place fire. The Lord of hosts will place the fire. So they place the fire, it's not going to burn. I mean, it's not true or real, however they doing it with the sacrificing. So that's one. And then all those things that they're saying, the artifacts that they have, it has been lost. So they haven't found the true things that were in the Solomon, the second temple. So it's just a bunch of, I can't get the word out, but it's just a bunch of hogwash to me.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Shalom. We know again that they are not the people. He spoke of Christ coming back, right? So we know that. Yeah, did you hear that, Brother Leonard? So we are waiting on the Lord of hosts. And again, some of that was read in Leviticus last night. But what comes to mind with me with that red heifer is in the book of Numbers, right? Chapter 19. There are laws regarding that. There are laws regarding how to use the ashes, right? There are laws on who sprinkles the blood from the red heifer. There's hyssop to be used, all of that. So therefore, they still not in order. They are not the people. They want to be the people, the chosen people, and they making it sound good to make it seem as though they're following the law, but they are not.
Exactly. All of it is done under deception. And because I mean, if Creator, Lord of hosts hadn't done what He done with us, we'd be right up in there with Him. But everything the reason JC lasts as long as he have is behind deception. That's how they operate. That's how Lucifer and these fallen angels, they operate off the only way that they can succeed in anything they're doing is got to be through deception.
Yes, sir. And all through Numbers, it says the Lord spake. the Lord said.
Right.
You know, he spoke to Aaron and Moses during this process. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just totally out of order. And again, like I say, the day of the Lord is going to be something else. They not even ready.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like I was saying yesterday, which to me it's another golden nugget is he said looking afar off is the fire of her burning. So when you understand how that works, it's got to be these people. It's not America. It's the fake woman that's gonna be burning. Like I said, when you look at all the merchandise that they're using, it's all dealing with Hebrews and our culture. So when you see, when they say they looking from afar off and see her burning, it's not over here. It might get burned up, but it's not the harlot. It's a harlot that's causing all the problems. It's a harlot that created the New Testament. It's a harlot that did put JC on the scene. There's a harlot that built the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD. There wasn't the Israelites didn't have nothing to do with that. So that's where all the deception coming in. It didn't just start. It's been on the scene ever since Israel was kicked out of the land back in 143 BC by Antiochus Epiphanes, the real Antichrist. Okay? Anybody else got anything? So, like I said, when you go to the book of Ezra, and if you look at the timeline on how everything unfolded with that, we can see it's the same thing. The Lord of hosts changed not. The same thing is, it already started. The same thing that happened when the Israelites was in captivity in Babylon, then they came out and came back and they rebuilt the temple. Same process is already started now for the Israelites. We in captivity, we in the remaining days of our captivity, and we getting ready to come out. So if you go to the book of Ezra, pretty much it's a blueprint. So we're gonna go to the book of Ezra. Like I said, we'll read a few chapters, but I'll do a little introduction first. So what's happening in the book of Ezra is the Israelites are in captivity in Babylon, right? And it's like I say, it's time for them to come out. And so the reason I'm picking it up in chapter the reason I'm picking it up in chapter 3 is because there's no need to read chapters 1 and 2. I can tell you that. So it was prophesied, a proclamation, a commandment, a proclamation, the same thing in Daniel 9:25. It was a proclamation made that the Israelites was told by Jeremiah, a proclamation going to be made by Cyrus. And when that proclamation go forth, that's going to be the cue for them Israelites to know their captivity is up. It's time for them to go back. So the same thing going to happen now. It's a proclamation going to happen. And when that proclamation is made, we're going to know, because then Most High is going to start changing everything. We already see that. We see how the things that they got away with concerning us just last year, they're not getting away with it now because he flipping the script. We see it happening. So in chapters 1 of Ezra, Cyrus came out, he fulfilled the prophecy, the proclamation. He said all the Israelites can go back to Jerusalem. Then the Most High raised the Israelites, certain Israelite spirit, and for them to have the mindset and the right countenance in order to return. They have it on their mind, so they don't happen to all Israelites. It's a certain group, a remnant. So I'll read that. Ezra chapter 1, verse 5. Then rose up the chief. First of all, we'll see, I go to verse 2. Thus Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. That's the proclamation that Jeremiah prophesied. So after that happened, Then verse 5, then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priest, just like Michelle was talking about in yesterday, Levite, in Leviticus, and the Benjamin, the priest, and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised. You can't get past that. You got to deal with that part. God got to raise pour his spirit out on certain Israelites. They're going to respond to it. Not all. It says to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. So this is the end of their captivity in Babylon. So what I'm going to do is pick it up in chapter 3. We'll read a few chapters, and then we'll break them down as we go. But the main thing is to show you how is nothing new under the sun. The Savior and Redeemer back here that delivered them out of Babylon, the same Savior and deliverer is going to deliver us now. Okay, so to get somebody to read chapter 3, somebody want to read? Volunteer? Read chapter 3.
Yes, sir, I will.
Okay.
Shalom, everyone. Ezra chapter 3, worship restored at Jerusalem. And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. Then stood up Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and his brethren, the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shethel, and his brethren, and built an altar of the God of Israel to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God.
Hold on right there. Hold on right there. Two things I want to shine light on right quick. So notice in chapter 1, it says, and like I keep putting emphasis on this about the suffering servant. They want to tell you that, JC. But notice right here, when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in their city, they already left Babylon, and they completed that, and now they're back in Jerusalem. The people gathered themselves together as one man. See that in Jerusalem. So what do that mean? That's a Hebrew idiom. Jacob wrestled with the angel of the Lord, and the angel changed his name to Jacob. So it's one man, but 12 sons came from him. That's why it says all the people, all the Israelites, when they gather together, that's Jacob. See what it says? And the people gather themselves together as one man. So when you read Isaiah 53, you have to understand this. That's why he's using singular. It's not that it's JC. He's using singular because he sees Israel as one man, Jacob. And then verse 2 says, then rose up Joshua, Jozadak, and his brethren, Zerubbabel. That's the Messiah in day 925. The people that's been here know that. And then notice at the end of that, it says, we talked about it last night. It said that all of a sudden in the New Testament, something new happening. But notice he says, right here, to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses. See that? And we know how you sacrifice a lamb in the law of Moses. It's not like they did with the lamb, JC the lamb. Totally different. The dead cat on the line. And we see the same thing. Like I said, the people that know this is at the end of the end of our records is Malachi. See that? We go there right quick. The end of our book as Hebrew Israelites is the book of Malachi. And the last chapter of Malachi says, chapter 4, verse 4. Remember ye the laws of Moses. See that? I don't see JC nowhere. He's taking you back. The Lord of hosts taking you back to Moses. Right? He says, remember ye the laws of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb, for all Israel, with the statutes and the judgments. See that? And then I'm going to go one more place, then we'll pick back up reading. I had to do this. So then you go to Ezekiel 25, right quick. No, it's 37. We talk about 37 all the time. So look at this. 37. It says 25. It says, and David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd, and they shall also walk in my judgments, see that, and my statutes, and do them. These are statutes that Moses gave us, not the New Testament. Tanakh and the Torah. Okay, you're gonna pick back up. I had to shine light on that.
Yes, sir. Ezra chapter 3, verse 3. And they set the altar upon his bases, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries. And they offered burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord, even burnt offerings morning and evening. They kept also the feast of the tabernacles, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number, according to the custom as the duty of every day required, and afterwards offered the continual burnt offering, both of the new moons and all of the set feasts of the Lord that were consecrated, and of everyone that willingly offered a free will offering unto the Lord. From the first day of the seventh month began they to offer burnt offerings unto the Lord. But the foundation of the temple of the Lord was not yet laid. Verse 7. They gave money also unto the masons and to the carpenters, and meat and drink and oil unto them of Zidon, and to them of Tyre, to bring cedar trees from Lebanon to the sea of Joppa, according to the great grant, that they had of Cyrus, king of Persia. Now, in the second year of their coming unto the house of God at Jerusalem, in the second month, began Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, and Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and the remnant of their brethren, the priests and the Levites, and all that they were come out of the captivity unto Jerusalem, and appointed the Levites from 20 years old and upward to set forward the work of the house of the Lord. Then stood Jeshua with his sons and his brethren, Cadmiel and his sons, the sons of Judah, together to set forward the workmen in the house of God, the son of Henadad, with their sons and their brethren, the Levites. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. And they sang together by chorus in praising and giving thanks unto the Lord, because he is good, for his mercy endureth forever towards Israel. And all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. Verse 12. But many of the priests and the Levites and chiefs of the fathers, who were ancient men that had seen the first house, when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, wept with a loud voice, and many shouted aloud for joy, so that the people could not discern the noise of the shout of joy from the noise of the weeping of the people. For the people shouted with a loud shout, and the noise was heard afar off. That was Ezra chapter 3.
You got any feedback?
What stood out to me a little bit, Brother Leonard, was when I was reading verse 11. That reminds me out of the book of Psalms.
Right.
Yes, sir. That really, sir.
No, I ain't saying no.
Okay, yes, sir. That is what really stood out to me, and the shouting allowed for joy, that they was praising so loud. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That people can hear them afar off. So I said this the other day with speaking to someone, with leaving here, is that is gonna be me. And when I was reading this, that is just, what came to mind was Psalms 118, because that is what we were talking about.
Yeah, so it's If you go to 10, you'll see verse 10 says, and when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they said priests, like you were talking about yesterday with Leviticus, right? They said priests in their apparel. That's what I'm always talking about. Before you get to Isaiah 53, the last 3 verses in 52. It's the same thing right here. That's what's going to happen in the last day. When the Levites come out in their garments, that's what the whole world going to be shocked. And then you're going to say, but it hadn't been told them. They're going to see it. Then they're going to have to consider it. But this is the same thing right here. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel. See that? Vestment with trumpets. And then this is the part I was bouncing off of what you said. And the Levites, the sons of Asaph, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with their cymbals, to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. And they sang. Who is they? The sons of Asaph. Look around now. These mega churches with their choirs and all that. Come on.
Those singers out of, yes, sir. Those singers out of that they mentioned in the book of Chronicles.
Right. Right. So and this is why things the way they are, because of people in places where they aren't supposed to be at, but they think they're right, but it's not what the Most High is showing us right here. See that? 12. It says, but many of the priests and the Levites and the chief of the fathers who were ancient men, you see, it's all about these priests and the Levites. Matter of fact, like I said, this is suffering servant. And if you don't know that they the suffering servant, you can't see none of this. Okay. Somebody want to read chapter 4?
I will.
Okay.
Shalom, everyone. Ezra chapter 4. Now, when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel, they came to Zerubbabel and said, and to the chief of the fathers, and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek your God as ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assur, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build a house unto our God, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. And in the days of Artaxerxes wrote Bishlam, Mithridath, Tabeel, and the rest of their companions unto Artaxerxes, king of Persia. And the writing of the letter was written in the Syrian tongue and interpreted in the Syrian tongue. Rehum, the chancellor, and Shimshai, the scribe, wrote a letter against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes, the king of this sort. Then wrote Rehum, the chancellor, and Shimshai, the scribe, and the rest of their companions, the Danites, the can't pronounce these words, the Tarpelites, the Aphrasites, the Archivites, the Babylonians, the Susanchites, the Dehavites, and the Elamites, and the rest of the nations whom the great and noble Asnapar brought over and set in the cities of Samaria, and the rest that are on this side of the river, and at such a time. This is a copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes the king, thy servants, the men on this side the river, and at such a time. Be it known unto the king that the Jews which come up from thee to us are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls thereof, and joined the foundations. Be it known now unto the king that if this city be builded and the walls set up again, then they will not pay toll, tribute, and custom, and so thou shalt endamage the revenue of the kings. Now, because we have maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not meet for us to see the king's dishonor, therefore have we sent and certified the king, that search may be made in the book of the records of thy fathers. So shalt thou find in the book of the records, and know that this city is a rebellious city, and hurtful unto kings and provinces, and that they have moved sedition within the same of old time, for which cause was the city destroyed. We certify the king that if this city be builded again, and the walls thereof set up, by this means thou shalt have no portion on this side of the river. Verse 17. Then sent the king to answer unto Rehum the chancellor, and Shimshai the scribe, and to the rest of their companions that dwell in Samaria, and unto the rest beyond the river, peace, and at such a time. The letter which ye sent unto us hath been plainly read before me. And I commanded, and search hath been made, and it is found that this city of old time hath made insurrection against kings, and that rebellion and sedition have been made therein. There have been mighty kings also over Jerusalem, which have ruled over all countries beyond the river, and toll, tribute, and custom was paid unto them. Give ye now commandment to cause these men to cease, and that the city be not builded, until another commandment shall be given from me. Take heed now that ye fail not to do this. Why should damage grow to the hurt of the king? Now, when the copy of King Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehum and Shimshai the scribe and their companions, they went up in haste to Jerusalem unto the Jews, and made them cease by force and power. Then ceased the work of the house of God, which is at Jerusalem. So it ceased until the 2nd year of the reign of Darius, king of Persia. That was Ezra chapter 4.
Okay, so let me deal with this last part right here while it's fresh on my mind. So for all the naysayers, right? So if you go to Daniel, right quick, Daniel chapter 9, like I said, they want you to, this is a golden card for the New Testament. Daniel 9:25, they say that that's Jesus, right? Let me read it. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, they're saying it's Messiah Jesus, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 2 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublesome time. Now here you go. And after 2 weeks, the Messiah shall be cut off. That's when supposedly JC got killed. But I just I done broke that down. I'm showing you that this Messiah in Daniel 9:25 is Zerubbabel. And what Anita just read is verse 26. It says, after 62 weeks, the Messiah shall be cut off. Let's go back over here, what you just read. Ezra chapter 4. They coming back. Cyrus made the proclamation. They back in Jerusalem. Now here you go. These people, starting at verse 17, the work was suspended. That's the work of the temple. Rebuilding the temple, it was cut off. It's not talking about JC. So I'm gonna go to verse 19. And I commanded, saying, and the search would have been made, and it is found that the city of old times have made insurrections against kings, and that the rebellion and sedition have been made therein. There have been mighty kings also of Jerusalem, which have ruled over all the countries beyond the river, and the toll and tribute and customs was paid unto them. Give ye now commandment to cease. This is what a cutoff is right here. Ain't got nothing to do with no New Testament. Right here. Give ye now commandment to cease these men, to cause these men to cease, and that this city be not builded, and until another commandment shall be given from one. Take heed now that ye fail not to do this. Or why should damage grow to the hurt of the king? Now, when the copy of the king's Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehoboam and Shimshai, the scribe, and their companions, they went up to haste to Jerusalem unto the Jews and made them cease by force and power. That's the cutoff. Not nothing in the New Testament. Not when JC was cut off. This was when Zerubbabel was cut off. Him and Josiah, they was cut off from building the temple, and it lasted 2 years before they started back. So another thing about this, you got to look what they did right here. We in the last days right now of prophecy of us going back. Look what's happening. They're doing the exact same thing. They're throwing everything at us, the kitchen sink, to try to keep Most High prophecy from being fulfilled. We're looking at the exact same thing. But I want to shine a light on something else right quick before we move forward. So when you see right here, I was showing you this which is important. Verse 9. Ezra chapter 4, verse 9 says, Then wrote Rehoboam the chancellor and Shimshai the scribe and the rest of their companions. So here you go, the rest of their companions, right? Look at that, the Danites, all these. See these ites? Now let's go back to Genesis chapter 10, like I told you. We're in Genesis chapter 10, right? And I showed you in chapter 10, Ham lineage, right? These giants, starting at verse 12. Rezin, between Nineveh and Caleb, the same as that great city. Then 13, Mizraim, that's a race of giants in Ham lineage, right? Mizraim begot Ludim, these all giants. But then you get down to 15, the Canaanites begot Sidon, the firstborn, and Jebusite. See all that? That's the original. When you see the IM, those are the giants. Those are huge giants. When the angel went into the woman, those are the firstborn giants. But then the Most High sent those 7 angels, bound them in different parts of the earth. So these giants sleeping with women. So they're not as tall. That's where the ites come in at. So when you go back over here to what she was reading at, them all giants. Them giants. So how did they get there in the land of Israel? Go to Second Kings. Right quick. You go to 2 Kings, chapter 17. Chapter 17, well, I'm going to start at verse 22. The guy just mentioned, the king of Assyria came there. He took the 10 tribes out, all the Israelites. 10 of the sons of Jacob took them out, took them to Assyria. We're going to read that in 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 22. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he had did, and they departed from them, and they departed not from them, until the Lord of hosts, removed Israel, the 10 tribes, out of his sight, and as he had said, by all his servants, the prophets. Right? So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. Now here we go. 24. Then king of Assyria was the man the scribe just mentioned. The king of Assyria brought men from Babylon. See that? From Kikut, from Ava, from Hamath, from Seraphim, and placed them. See that? In the Samaria, in the cities of Israel, and they possessed the Samaria and dwelt therein. So these people, Japhat, these giants, people from the Japhat lineage, the king of Syria brought them there in the 10 of the lots of Israel. So when Israel was taken, when the king of Assyria, when Cyrus released them to go back, that's why they don't want them back. They enjoying the land of Israel. They there. So they doing everything under the sun to stop Israel from getting back in their land. So what we looking at now, the same thing. These nut buckets over there in the land. And it's time for us to go back. They're doing everything under the sun to keep us from going back. You got to understand that. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Okay? Any comments or questions?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. You answered that question I had about verse 9 already. I was going to ask about that, but I wanted to come back and clarify what I was speaking about in when I read Ezra chapter 3 in verse 11. That was Psalms 118 that I was thinking of, sir.
Psalms 118?
Yes, sir.
What does it say?
Psalms 118. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, because his mercy endureth forever. Let Israel now say that his mercy endureth forever. Let the house of Aaron now say that his mercy endureth forever. Let them now that fear the Lord say that his mercy endureth forever. I'm going to skip over to verse 24. It's 29 verses. It said, this is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Save now, I beseech thee, O Lord. O Lord, I beseech thee. Send now prosperity. Blessed be he that cometh in the name of the Lord. We have blessed you out of the house of the Lord. God is the Lord, which hath showed us light. Bind the sacrifice with cords, even unto the horns of the altar. Thou art my God, and I will praise thee. Thou art my God, I will exalt thee. Verse 29, oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. That was Psalms 118.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions on that, comments?
So, Shalom, I wanted to say, I have been looking for this, 2 Kings chapter 17. I've been looking for this for the longest in verse 24, where you read the different nations that the king of Babylon brought in.
Right.
And that's the second one. So earlier I spoke about Ashkenaz, and in verse 24 they mentioned what we call now Sephardic Jews.
Right.
But it's right there in verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutha and from Ava and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim. The Sephardic Jews. And they came in, and this was the chapter for the longest I could not find. I knew I read it years ago, but it speaks to, verse 26, they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore, he hath sent lions among them. And the king goes on in verse 27, the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the God of the land. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel and taught them how they should fear the Lord. So I could not find this for the life of me, and I kept saying, I know I read this in the canon. I knew I read it, but I'm glad I'm on today so I could figure out where it's at. But it's here in text that everybody can read. It's not hidden. That Sephardic Jews were moved to the land. They've been there for years since then, but they had to be taught all the laws. They only know it because they were taught it by an actual Levite.
Right. But what you have to understand on this is that in today, like I was saying about, you got the camps, all these different camps, and all these people, and the reason they started dealing with JC, and they off track because of, but these people they mentioning things about certain things which had truths on it, and it's like an insult to the Israelite because they don't know it. So for example, right here, we see over in Israel pretty much the last 10 years, 15 years, they've been going on these aliyahs, or what they call aliyah, where they going to get these different Jews from different parts of the world and saying they bringing them back to Jerusalem, right? Regathering the Israelites. It's these people. It's coming from it's coming from this. They're going, like, for instance, Ethiopia. Ethiopia is Havilah right there, what you just read in 24, in verse 24. Hey, but that's those Ethiopians. So So you got people all around the different parts of the world. They have lived in Jerusalem at one time, and they got the culture, but they're not the real Israelites. It's just like the people over there now. They was there in 70 AD. And Yahweh, that's when he ran them out and gave them, and the Titus and Vespasian gave them safe passage to Spain. So it's not a coincidence that when the New World was discovered, it came from Spain because they're Edomites. They said they're trying to find a way to get away from the curses of the Most High that he have on them from Ezekiel 35. So they came here. What we dealing with is prophecy, but it's their prophecy. So eventually they came, they organized World War I and World War II, and just like they told the Lord in Malachi that though you run us out of here, we're gonna come back. In 1948, they fulfilled that. They came back. They're back in the land. But that's a whole different group from the people that's over here in 2 Kings 17. Those are people that Sennacherib brought there. That's the reason why it got so wicked in Israel. And then the southern kingdom started picking up what they was doing. And that's how we all ended up over here. But it started with most people don't know this right here. These wicked ass people was in the land of Israel, and they learned our laws and our statutes and our judgments. And to this day, people looking for Jews, when they see people keeping the laws, they think they Jews, but they're not Jews. It came from right here. Yeah, and that's big. Right. So one more thing I want to say on that, and then I'm gonna close right there. So it says they know not the God of the land, right?
Right.
Okay. So what are you talking about? He said they know not the God of the land. So whoever the God is an area. It's a certain specific geographical location. Part of a certain amount of land he got. So we know right there it ain't Yahweh. It's not Yahweh. So we go back to chapter 10, during the time of Peleg, when the Most High divided the earth up among these 70 angels. Michael got the land of Israel. He got Sinai and all that area. So Abraham came to the mountain of God, and he told him, I want you to go and deliver my people out of Egypt. Moses went and got them, brought them back to his land. Michael, the God of that land. Just like we read in Daniel chapter 10, it's an angel over Persia. He got a certain area he owned. Then you got an angel over Greece. So it's a lot going on with that. And if you zeroed in on what had happened before that, you can't just jump up and start worshiping JC. Okay. Yeah. So anybody got anything on that?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Okay.
When the land was divided, and I've never been able to ask this, maybe you know, when the land was divided, were there also fallen angels that were given land, or people basically that they inherited?
Yeah, when the land was divided up, only Michael got the righteous. Michael was the only righteous angel. He got the land of, they call it the land of Canaan because Canaan stole it. But that's the land where the Garden of Eden was at, where Mount Zion at, where the portal, Bethel at. That's what Michael got. The other lands was divided among the angels, the wicked angels.
Okay. Because
my
assumption was all the other lands were divided to fallen angels, but I didn't know if I was thinking correct.
No, yeah, it was given to them. You got to look at the Tower of Babel. What did they do at the Tower of Babel? They was in defiance against the Lord of hosts, right, and against heaven. So he scattered them, and when he scattered them, he gave them what they wanted. Like I said, the Lord of hosts knows just how to do you. He gave him a wicked angel, except that he received from Yahweh, the land of Canaan, with the garden and all that. Well, he already had it actually, because he's one of the trees that's in the garden in the beginning, the tree of life. But yeah, so he had the land, he had that land. So when it says the God of that land, it can't be Yahweh. Okay, because it's God. And then when you once you understand that, you see how they talk about he's saying don't worship other gods. What are you talking about? Els, other Els. He's an angel. Michael El, it's other Els. They've got other parts of other different locations that was given to them. A prime example is, let me read it right quick. Get with me, close out. So a prime example is Daniel, right quick, chapter 10. It says, and a lot of people read over this. It says, Gabriel talking in verse 19. And Gabriel said, "O man, greatly beloved," talking to Daniel, "fear not, peace be unto thee. Be strong, yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened." And he said, "Let thy Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me." Then said he, "Knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now I will return and fight." See that? "And I will fight." Gabriel is a righteous angel. "And I will fight with the prince of Persia." That's a fallen angel. He was given the region of Persia at the Tower of Babel. Right there. Said, "And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Greece," another fallen angel. That's why he was held up. He had to go, he had to summon Michael to come help him, the great prince. But that all that right there is clarifying the same thing. What you reading over there in 2 Kings. Anybody else got anything? Any questions before we go?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all good. We're gonna pick a scripture and then we'll break it down. Somebody got a scripture they want to pick.
Shalom. Deuteronomy 31, verse 21. It reads, "And it shall come to pass when many evil and troubles are befall them, that this song shall testify against them as witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imagination, which they go about, even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swear."
Okay, that's the song of Moses. And what happened was Moses prophesied to them about everything that was going to happen to Israel into the end time. But he sung it in a song. That's in if you go to Deuteronomy 32, I think it's the first verse. Can somebody read that? Deuteronomy 32 and 1, I think.
"Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak. O hear, O earth, the words of my mouth." Number 2, "My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, and as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the shower upon the grass." 3, "Because I will publish the name of the Lord." Sir?
Yeah, 31, the last verse before 32, the last verse of 31.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See what
Okay.
it says?
And Moses spake in the ears of all the congregation of Israel the words of the song until they were ended.
That's the song. What you was reading. He prophesied to them everything that was going to befall Israel after he died to the end. And Joshua did the same thing. He sung a song to them, but he prophesied the same thing. So, like I was saying, that says a lot. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Okay. So nobody would know that Moses could sing or that Joshua could sing. But if you understand what's really going on, how they denigrated us and our character, you will understand that. Okay. Anybody got anything else before we go?
Shalom. So chapter 32, we should read that, and that way we understand what he's talking about for us the end of day.
Right. Yeah. He prophesied everything that he sung in that song. He prophesied it. They already, the Lord of hosts told him, I already know what they're gonna do. And he told Moses. Then Moses told him. Because it's like I said, Michael, what I just read in chapter 10 of Daniel, Gabriel told Daniel, me and Michael looking on his book of life, and nobody else can look on it but me and him. So that's how they're able to come to the earth and prophesy to the prophets, because they looking on his book or things to come. What's going to happen? They're getting it from Yahweh. So he told Moses, and then Moses sung it to them. Everything that was going to befall Israel after he passed away.
Shalom. If it's okay, I want to, in chapter 32, verse 8, if I can read that one. It says, when the Most High divided into the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to their number of children of Israel. Is that when he of the Red Sea, when he separated them?
No, that's a tampering. Israelites tamper with it. That's what I was just saying about the 70 angels. That's what that is. They put the children of Israel there, but if you go back and read it with understanding that it's angels, you'll see what they done. It's when he divided the earth with the angels, not with the sons of not with the Israelites. Can you read it again?
Yes, sir. When the Most High divided the two nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
That don't make sense. But when you understand that he is, when he at the time of Peleg, when he divided the earth up, he set the bounds according to the angels, these 70 angels, not the children of Israel.
Yes,
what
sir.
kind of book you reading out of?
I'm reading the New King James.
Yeah, I know. I figured that because it's not saying that in the King James. It says that
It's the King.
It don't say the two nations. It don't say that in the King James study Bible. It don't say that. But yeah, right, yeah. So they constantly. The more we wake up, the more they revive and like I said, they're doing everything on the sun to keep us from coming to the knowledge of the truth of what really happened to us and who we really are and what we're capable of. So that when you understand, he's angels, not the children of Israel. It's the angels. Yes, and he divided the earth up according to the angels. Right.
So may I ask this one question? So is it a fact or true that every so many years they rewrite the Bible?
Right. They have different versions every so often. And it's all according to the more we start waking up. And when we start waking up, they start changing they come back with another version, and then they done watered it down. And it's been going on forever.
So is it best to search out one of the older Bibles that's been printed?
No, what I said, I got a King James Study Bible, and I would get with somebody that the Most High poured the Spirit out on, that's rightly dividing it. Like I was just saying about the the Levites and the priests. He just said that when they came back from Babylon, they put the priests in their in adornments, in their vestments, and they aligned themselves, and they sung. Not like what they're doing now. It was the priests and the Levites was doing all the singing, not these mega choirs they got now, because that's part of their duties. So they didn't gave us a whole nother understanding of how everything operates. So that's what that is. So you have to get the most. I mean, yeah. Let me read it one more time. Then we have to close out. So he says, I'm in Ezra. Ezra says right here, chapter 1 says he gave them all the stuff to go back to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, and then verse 5, Ezra 1 and 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers. See that? Fathers of Judah, Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all those whose spirit God had raised, to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. That's how it works. You get with somebody the Most High and pour the Spirit out on, the man of God, and then that's how it goes. Yeah. So and then I'm not gonna even try to find it, but in if you go to another part here where when Ezra got to Jerusalem, let me see if I can find it right quick. It says yeah. So right here in chapter 9, it says Ezra get back from Jerusalem, back from Babylon. When Ezra get there, it says, now, when these things were done, the princes came to me, Ezra, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the land, doing according to the abominations, even of the Canaanites. And here go the people I just told you about, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, the Amorites, for they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands, yea, and the hand of their princes and rulers have been chief among the trespassers. And when I heard this thing, check it out, Ezra, when I heard this thing, I rent my garment and my mantle and plucked out the hairs of my head and of my beard, and I sat down astonished. Then were assembled unto me everyone that had trembled. See that? Not everybody. Then was assembled unto me everyone that trembled at the words of God of Israel, because of the trespasses of those that had been carried away. And I sat astonished until the evening sacrifice. And at the evening sacrifice I rose up for heaviness, and having rent my garment and my mantle, and I fell upon my knees, and I spread out my hands unto the Lord my God, and I said, O my God, I am ashamed and blushed to lift up my face to thee, my God, for our iniquity. See that? He the one, he the mediator, Ezra. And he said, Oh my God, I am ashamed and blush to lift up my face to thee, my God, for our iniquity. See that? Our, he included. Our iniquity are increased over our heads, and our trespasses is gone up to heaven. Since the days of our fathers have we been in great trespasses until this day, and for our iniquities have we, our kings, our princes, been delivered into the hands of the kings of the land, to the sword, to captivity, and to the spoils, and the confusion of face. There it is, confusion of face as of this day. So all you have to do is, if you can recognize the Spirit of the Most High, get with a man that's the Most High and pour the Spirit out on. Get with a man that's the Most High and pour the Spirit out on. And take it from there.
Shalom. And
Right.
I'm glad to be in this study, because I believe you are the one who is, enlightening us and giving us things to actually look at, and not go from the doctoring or the washing of our minds when we were young and didn't know about the truth. And again, I'm appreciated and I have great gratitude to be in this class.
Okay. So anybody else have anything before we go? Okay, so with that being said, I want to say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. We have a men's advanced Bible study tomorrow night, so if you want to listen in, you can come in through YouTube. And then we have our Shabbat classes on Saturday, 1 in the morning, 10 to 12 a.m. And then we close out the Shabbat at 6. We have evening Shabbat class at 6 o'clock. Shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.